All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving headfirst into something that I think most people have experienced, even if they don't have a name for it. We're talking about the Mandela Effect. You know those moments where you are absolutely, unequivocally certain something happened a certain way, or a word was spelled a certain way, or a movie quote was exactly as you remember it, and then, boom, reality check. It's completely different.
Oh, RJ, you're hitting me right in my core memories with this one. I think it's one of those topics that's just inherently intriguing because it challenges our perception of what's real and what's not. And frankly, it can be a little unsettling when you realize your memory has played such a convincing trick on you, and not just you, but thousands, sometimes millions of other people.
Unsettling is right. I remember the first time I really stumbled upon the Mandela Effect, I thought it was some kind of elaborate prank. But then when you dig into the examples, you just start to feel this, I don't know, a bit of existential dread. Like, wait a minute, if these things I've been so sure about for my entire life are wrong, what else is wrong? And the glitch simulation theory starts sounding a little less crazy.
Exactly. That's where the name comes from, right? The Mandela Effect itself is named after this widespread false memory that Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 1980s. People vividly remember news coverage, his funeral, everything. But in reality, he was released in 1990 and became president of South Africa, passing away in 2013. It's wild that so many people had such a strong, shared false memory.
It truly is mind-boggling, and it's not just a few people, it's a significant portion of the population for some of these examples. From a psychological standpoint, it's fascinating. It brings up concepts like confabulation, suggestibility, and how easily our brains can fill in gaps or create narratives that feel real, even if they're not based on fact. But when it's shared by so many, that's where the deeper questions begin.
Like Berenstain Bears versus Berenstain Bears. That one gets me every time. I distinctly remember it being Berenstain with an E. My whole childhood I read those books, and in my head it was Berenstain. And then someone tells you it's always been Berenstain with an A, and you're like, no, that's not right. My eyes are lying to me. It makes you question your entire early education.
Oh, the Berenstain one is a classic. I'm with you, Zoe. I could have sworn it was Berenstain. And then there's the famous Star Wars' quote. Everyone, and I mean everyone, remembers Darth Vader saying, "Luke, I am your father," right? But the actual quote is, "No, I am your father." It's a small difference, but it completely changes the rhythm and the common perception of that iconic scene.
That's a perfect example of how a slight rephrasing can embed itself differently in our collective memory. The Luke often gets added because it feels more dramatic or complete, connecting directly to the character. It's almost like our brains collectively edit for optimal narrative impact. It's a testament to the power of storytelling and how our minds process and store information.
And what about the Monopoly Man? You know, the character on the board game? I always picture him with a monocle. Like, he's this fancy rich guy, so he's got the top hat, the mustache, and a monocle. But he doesn't have one! He never has! It's just a plain old Mr. Monopoly, no monocle. My world was shattered when I found that out.
Wait, he doesn't have a monocle? No way! Zoe, you're blowing my mind right now. I am right there with you. My entire life, I have pictured Mr. Monopoly with a monocle. That is genuinely shocking to me. See, this is why we have these conversations, people. You learn something new and terrifying every day.
It's true, and it's often attributed to the Pringles logo guy who does have a mustache but no monocle, and then perhaps an unconscious blending with other wealthy cartoon character archetypes. Our brains are constantly making associations, and sometimes those associations become so strong they overwrite the original data. It's less about a glitch and more about our brain's efficiency, or sometimes over-efficiency.
But what if it is a glitch, though? What if, hear me out, we're living in some sort of simulation, and every now and then there's a little patch update or a server hiccup and things subtly shift? Like some programmer decided, you know what? The Monopoly Man doesn't need a monocle anymore. Let's simplify that asset, and our memories just haven't quite caught up.
Okay, Zoe, now you're going full Matrix on us. But I get it, it's a fun thought experiment. I mean, when you're faced with so many people remembering the same wrong thing, it does make you wonder if there's something more than just faulty individual memory at play. What about the Fruit Loops versus Fruit Loops? That's another one.
Ah, yes, the Fruit Loops one. Many people distinctly remember it being spelled Fruit Loops because, well, they're fruit-flavored loops, right? It makes logical sense. But it's always been Fruit Loops with the double O's. This one, again, highlights how our brains prioritize meaning over exact spelling, especially for brand names that are somewhat playful with their orthography.
I even had a debate with my dad about this once. He swore it was fruit. He was so convinced. And when I showed him a box, he literally stared at it for about a minute like it was an alien artifact. He said, "I remember the commercials. It was Fruit Loops. Did they change it?" And I'm like, "Dad, no, it's always been fruit." It's jarring for people, especially older generations who have consumed these brands for decades.
That's wild. It's almost like it's challenging a core belief, isn't it? And it's not just visual or textual. Think about songs. Queen's We Are the Champions. How does it end?
Oh, this is a good one. Most people would sing, "We are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting till the end of the world." No, wait, not of the world. It just cuts off. No time for losers, because we are the champions of the world. And then it just stops. No triumphant of the world echo. No, my friends, at the very end. Just silence.
No, it does not just stop. Ivy, you're messing with me. I remember that booming of the world at the end, fading out with the music. That's how it's always played in my head. Every sporting event, every sing-along, that's the ending. I'm going to have to go listen to it right after this. My world is literally crumbling around me right now.
See, that's the power of the Mandela Effect. You truly believe one thing, and then the actual evidence confronts you. And it's such a common misremembering for that song. It really feels like it should end with that big flourish, so our brains just added it in.
It's a fantastic illustration of how our brains anticipate and complete patterns. The song builds to this huge crescendo, and a dramatic, echoing final phrase just feels narratively correct. So our memory constructs that ending. It's less about a glitch in reality and more about the beautiful, complex, and sometimes fallible architecture of our own minds.
But what if it's both? What if our brains are designed to fill in gaps because reality does sometimes glitch, and they're just trying to make sense of the inconsistencies? Maybe these aren't just faulty memories, but echoes of alternate timelines or dimensions bleeding through. That's the fun part, thinking about the what-ifs.
Okay, let's lean into that for a second. The what-ifs. If we consider the simulation theory, it really provides a neat, if unsettling, explanation. If we're in a computer simulation, then a Mandela effect could literally be a change in the code, a minor patch, or a rollback to a previous version of a certain asset. It's not our memory failing, it's the simulation being updated.
It's a very compelling science fiction concept, isn't it? The idea that these aren't memory errors, but genuine shifts in our reality. However, from a scientific perspective, Occam's razor would suggest that the simpler explanation, that human memory is inherently fallible and susceptible to suggestion and confabulation, is more likely. The brain is an incredibly powerful pattern-matching machine, but it's not a perfect recorder.
I think the internet plays a huge role in how these effects spread, too. Before, if you remembered something wrong, maybe you'd mention it to a friend and they'd correct you and that'd be it. Now, with social media, you post "anyone else remember Berenstain Bears?" and suddenly, a million people chime in saying, "Yes, I do too." It creates this echo chamber that reinforces the false memory, making it feel even more real and widespread.
That's a really good point, Zoe. It's almost like a collective unconscious being amplified and solidified by online communities. The moment someone puts a question out there, it can trigger that same misremembering in countless others who might not have even thought about it before. It becomes a shared experience of confusion.
Absolutely. It's a classic case of cognitive bias, specifically confirmation bias and suggestibility. Once you're presented with a potential alternative memory, your brain can easily latch onto it, especially if it feels more right or aligns with a common misconception. The sheer volume of people online sharing the same false memory gives it an authoritative weight that individual fallibility might not otherwise have.
But what about those really niche ones, though? Like, I remember learning in school that Hawaii was the only state that didn't observe daylight saving time. And then I went to Hawaii, and I learned they actually do observe it, but it's just very unusual in its timing or something. Or maybe I completely made that up now that I'm saying it out loud. See, this is the problem. It's self-fulfilling.
Ha! That's hilarious, Zoe. You've just experienced the Mandela effect in real time on our podcast. But actually, Hawaii does not observe daylight saving time, along with Arizona except for the Navajo Nation. So, your original memory was correct. You've just gaslighted yourself, my friend.
That's brilliant, RJ, and it perfectly illustrates the psychological fragility of our memories. Even when presented with the correct information initially, the mere act of questioning it can introduce doubt and lead to self-confabulation. Our brains are truly fascinating in their capacity for both accuracy and error.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm living in an M.C. Escher painting of my own mind right now. So my first memory was right, then I started to doubt it because I experienced what I thought was a correction, and now I'm back to the original memory being right. This is dizzying. It just makes you wonder how many things we walk around thinking are one way and they're actually another, and we'll never know unless someone points it out.
It's truly a rabbit hole, isn't it? And it's why the Mandela Effect, whether you lean towards the psychological explanation or the glitched simulation theory, remains such a compelling topic. It forces us to confront the idea that our personal reality, and even our collective reality, might be more fluid and less certain than we perceive it to be.
And perhaps that's the real takeaway, to approach our memories and information in general with a healthy dose of skepticism and a willingness to verify. Our brains are amazing, but they're also storytelling machines that prioritize coherence over strict factual accuracy sometimes. Understanding that can actually be quite empowering.
Empowering or terrifying, but I agree, it's a fantastic reminder to always double-check, especially if something feels a little off. And hey, if it turns out we are in a simulation, maybe one day the developers will finally patch in the Monopoly Man's monocle and the Luke in Star Wars. A girl can dream, right?
Haha, I'd certainly appreciate that patch. Well, this has been an incredibly fun and mind-bending discussion. Thank you, Ivy and Zoe, for joining me in exploring the fascinating, sometimes unsettling world of the Mandela Effect. And to all our listeners out there, what are your most vivid Mandela Effect experiences? Let us know. And until next time, keep questioning everything, but maybe verify it too.